Welcome to the man cave, something for everybody. How about a can of STP, the 1960s, unopened. It was junk then, it's junk now. Oh, did I say that? Let's see what else we got here. Ooh, Hot Rod magazine, 1956 issue. I missed that one. And a door from a rusted truck. Hey, forget the car stuff. Here's what I need. Anybody got any quarters? Once again, we're at our garage and test facility. Let's see what we're rolling out for this video. One of my favorite cars, a Genesis G70. And as you probably already know, Genesis is the luxury brand brought up by Kia and Hyundai folks. It's intended to compete with the European upgrade brands like BMW, Audi, and the like. In order to do so, they went over to Europe some years ago and hired some of the best engineers from Audi, BMW, Bentley, etc. And this car is the result of that project. That's why its overall resemblance to a BMW 3 Series and an Audi is no accident. These fancy leather quilted seats, similar to what you see in a Bentley, is no accident either. We'll be looking at the interior a little bit later in the video. The base price of a G70 is $36,000. It gets you a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder engine, putting out 252 horsepower, hooked to a 6-speed manual transmission. If you don't want what the car has to offer, you want to upgrade to this V6, 3.3 liters, 365 horsepower, hooked to an 8-speed automatic transmission. All-wheel drive is an option on this vehicle. This doesn't have it. As expected, the V6 car cost more, $42 grand. We had a couple of option packages. I'll just scroll down so you can see for yourself. And there's the total tab. Not cheap, but still less expensive than a BMW or Audi. And it's made in their high-quality Korean plant. And there's the claimed fuel economy for those interested. If you're impressed with the G70 performance but don't care for the styling, there's an alternative. You go down to the Kia dealer and look at their Stinger sports sedan. Mechanically, it's identical to the G70. Just a different body style, about 200 pounds more body style, and a cabin that's not quite as fancy. This is one we tested a couple years ago. I liked it, but I like the G70 better myself. And we also drove this BMW M4 competition a few months ago. If you want to see how it compares to a Genesis, we'll have a link for that video coming up at the end of this video. This one costs a lot more money, though. One of the first things we do when we get a vehicle is take the headlights out in the dark and see how they perform, so let's do that chore right now. It's dark enough, let's see what these headlights do. Here the low beams are on a wall 100 feet away, pretty bright, good widespread. High beams, very strong in the middle. Here's what the rearview camera looks like in the dark. Slightly fuzzy, but shows the terrain quite well, considering there's not much light back there. And all the controls light up quite well. Every button's lit up, easy to find in the dark. And here we have the low beams on a fence 80 yards away. Go to high beam. We see the building 130 yards away. These are excellent lights. No complaints from me. And I put 35 miles on this day, driving pretty quick. Seeing what type of pep I could get out of this V6 engine, and ooh, 15.3. That doesn't look very good. I'm going to take this vehicle outside the city limits and see how the headlights perform on backcountry roads. It'll give us a chance to see what the fuel economy is on freeway trips at the same time. Well, 37 miles, averaging around 75 miles per hour, 28.3. That's a lot better than what we had before. Actually, I was getting close to 30 till I hit an upgrade, going uphill. All right, we're out in the boonies, and let's see how these low beam headlights work when we enter dips. Here's what the road looks like on high beam. Disappears a little bit, but not by much, not enough to be worried about. And the road signs about a half mile away can be seen, whether on high beam or low beam. This vehicle takes corners like a champ. I'm very, very impressed. I think we have a lot of fun with this. I'm glad we have good headlights, because I say in all my videos we have mountain lions and skunks out here. Almost hit a mountain lion once, but I've hit a lot of skunks. It's not a pleasant experience, especially when you have to give the car back. And even though most of the city is dry, it appears to have been raining out here. These roads are soaking wet, so I'm surprised we have all the traction we do. This V6 engine has guts, but we'll talk about that later on in the video. Every video I come out here, the bar is closed. Doggone it. I'd like to do some more driving out here, but the roads are just too bad. Too much mud and wet gravel. So I'm going to have to turn around and go back home. Plus the vampire bats are flying around my head at the moment. Yeah, get away. Shoo. Almost bit me. And I see the fans are doing a good job of cooling off the turbocharger. And I almost forgot, the trunk lights up very nice in the dark too. As you do in all my videos, I always check to see if there's a spare tire in the vehicle, and there is a spare tire under there. I'd show you, but I don't have to undo the cargo net again. Too lazy. As you can see, that little country drive I just took sure sucked up a lot of fuel. One thing that really impresses me about this vehicle is the build quality. Absolutely excellent. Very sturdy bodywork too. Not that cheap beer can stuff we get in a lot of other Asian cars. And the materials used in the cabin, excellent as well. The smell of this upgraded leather is simply outstanding. Too bad you can't take a whiff. The glove box is large and holds lots of items. Very simple climate controls, 3 basic knobs and a few buttons. And we have a drive mode knob. Gives you Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, or Custom. The info screen is large enough. I'm really not a fan of the shifter. If you're going to use a stick with all the gears. If you're going to use a push button with all the gears. But here we have drive, neutral, and reverse. Then you have a button over here for park. This can be confusing for a first-time driver. They put it forward thinking they're in park, they're really in reverse, and before you know it, the vehicle is rolling back and hitting something. If you give the keys to the valet, you better remind him of this, otherwise he might back into a car. I've seen it happen. And if you want to choose gears manually, there are paddle shifters on the steering wheel, easily reached regardless of the wheel position. Far superior setup than some of the Europeans that have the paddle shifters on the steering column, where they can be only reached when you're driving in a straight line, which is a dumb place to put them. They belong on the steering wheel. So Genesis, you got it right. And here's your camera system. Excellent view, very high quality image. Then There's one item that Genesis copied from the BMWs and Audis I don't like, and that's the dirt shelf. Look at all that. That gets on your pants when you're getting in and out. You need to get a rag and wipe this off occasionally. I drove one of these a few years ago when they first came out, and I found it to be one of the best sedans I've ever driven. In fact, in many ways, it was actually better than the BMW and Audi competition, so let's take this for a ride and see if that still applies. As I do in all of my videos, we're going to take some mild speed humps around 20 miles per hour, see how the suspension performs on impact, and we have this in the normal mode. Bump number 1. A bit of hop, but nothing serious. Number 2. Number 3. And the nasty one. Not the smoothest ride I've ever had, but smooth enough for a performance sedan. By normal mode, I meant comfort mode. If you've driven one of the late model BMWs lately, you know the power steering system is simply, I'll say it sucks. Way over assisted, no feel. The one in this Genesis is far better. Good response, decent feel, good feedback. Yeah, definitely better. One thing I like about this vehicle, they have cameras in the outside mirrors, so when you turn on the turn signal, you get a good view of what's on your side. There's the left, and there's the right. This Turbo 6 engine is a real beast. Puts out some great 0 to 60 times. And yes, I'm in the Sport Plus mode. And these are very strong brakes too. Up to the job. One thing you have to get used to with this car, it's got a very small gas tank. I think it's 15.5 gallons if I remember. And number 2, there's no sticker on here saying what type of fuel to use. I would think we need premium, that's what I'm using. I'll have to find the owner's manual and see what it says. We're going to some backcountry roads, but first we have to stop and say hello to Freddy the Frog. For good luck. You don't do that, you get bad luck. Hi, Freddy. Now we can go. This is a very strong engine. Not quite as strong as what we get from the BMW inline. It's strong enough. Plus with Genesis you get a 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty on this motor. And why is it raining? Weather said it wasn't going to rain today. Of course. That's all we need, some nice slick roads. This is a fairly comfortable vehicle to drive on the highway, but these tires make a lot of rumbling noises, just the price you pay for driving a sports sedan. For this particular trip, we're going to have the vehicle in sport mode to give the best performance, especially when taking corners, which this vehicle does very well. If you're going to drive a performance car, you need to keep your eyes on the road. Don't be looking down there. It's not safe. It's a long drop, too. You need to keep your eyes on the road like me. There's nothing to see down there anyway. This is what a sports sedan is all about. Finding a back road, lots of open space, and hitting the gas pedal. And there's definitely a lot of open space out here. Once again, we're coming up to Dead Man's Road. Very tight corners, no guardrails to keep you from going over the edge. Lots of rocks in the road, animals in the road, and now a wet road. But I think we'll be fine in this vehicle. I've run across a lot of giant rocks out here in the road because the rock slides due to the wet weather. Good thing I've got good steering and strong brakes. This is the same road I test my Mercedes, BMW, and Audis on, and this Genesis is definitely a good match for them. I'm very, very impressed with this car. One of the nicest four-door sedans I've ever driven. I think I said that last time I had one. If you're a slow driver just looking for daily transportation, the G70 with the 4-cylinder might do it for you. If you like shifting for yourself, the manual transmission it's available with might do it for you as well. But if you want the real driving experience on the G70, you need to get the V6. That's just the way it is. It's not that much more if you get the base vehicle at $42,000 versus a $36,000, $37,000 for the 4. It's worth the extra money, trust me. All of the V8 muscle cars I've driven on this road usually get around 17 to 19 miles to the gallon on this driving experience. Should be interesting to see what we get on the G70. We're going to pull over and find out. Well, our 137-mile trip netted 21 miles to the gallon. Slightly better than average compared to the other vehicles. I'm not complaining. Especially since we had it in the sport mode the whole time. So what's my take on this Genesis G70 after a week of driving? Well, they set out to build a vehicle that competes with the BMW 3 Series and the Audi as well. And not only did they succeed, but in many ways this is actually a better car. That's within the horsepower limitations, of course. 365 is all you're going to get out of the G70. By comparison, the BMW I had a few months ago put out more than 500. It also put out more on the price tag at near $80,000. The G70 is intended to compete with the BMW 3 Series with the base inline 6-cylinder engine that BMW has. And this is around $10,000 cheaper than that particular Beamer. But of course you get a far better warranty with the Genesis at 10 years, 100,000 miles for the drivetrain. I think the rest of the vehicle is like 6 years if I remember correctly. You probably won't need it because Genesis holds up pretty good. Coming up are links to other videos we've done, including that BMW 4 Series I mentioned. See what the Germans will give you for your 80 grand.